It's a duck blur. Might solve a mystery or rewrite history.
Hey guys, good evening and welcome back to the channel. We'll discuss the Mandela Effect in this live. Thanks for joining me today as we uncover the mystery of the Mandela Effect itself and find out the true meaning of it all. We must discover what is really happening, what is really going on.
What difference does that make? This was a dream, a fantasy. Just shut up, Offsetter, and tell me where the ticket is.
As we further dissect the absolute farce that is being presented to us regarding Las Vegas, I don't even know where to start with this. I have so much to say, so park yourself, get ready, wake the kids. I've been going through this repeatedly and have more stuff here, and how anybody in the mainstream media can even look themselves in the eye and even begin to suggest that they're leveling is beyond me. Let's start right off the bat. None of this story makes any... Listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying. What's important to note is before we buy this stuff about he was crazy, he was evil, I'm not there yet. Let me go on the record by saying this. I don't believe any of this stuff. I don't believe the story. I don't believe necessarily he did it. I know that's what they're saying. But I'm not sure. I want to see the crime scene pictures. Oh, yeah. I want to see the reports. I want to see his autopsy report. Where was he shot? I want to make sure it's a legitimate autopsy, not one of these Princess Diana masterpieces where they get rid of her reproductive organs, so we don't know whether she was pregnant with Dodie's kid. Not one of those. But I want to make sure that if this guy's shot 12 times in the back, close pattern automatic weapon or whatever it is, that doesn't comport with the he killed himself routine. I also want to hear more about the people who heard shooting on the 4th. Did you hear the police? Did you hear the police? Did you hear on various, thank God for YouTube, thank God for Reddit, thank God for these people, thank God for this. Did you hear those people, did you hear those individuals who were suggesting that they heard this shooting on a lower floor, maybe the 4th floor or others? Now let me ask you something. You listen to me and you listen carefully. I know a lot of you folks really love some mainstream media. And I understand we love this, this Fox News and oh, that's great, Fox News. Fox News is a part of them as well. Fox News is not going to do anything. They're not going to do anything that in any way goes against the official story. And Judge Napolitano's been warned. He tried to get cheeky a couple of times and they cut him down, especially right now when Fox is trying to sell and buy the Sky deal, the Sky network in the UK. But they're doing Ducey and all these people and Geraldo and the usual suspect, Kilmeade and the usual people in the morning. They're just repeating the same story. Isn't it horrible? Because their main concern is to protect Trump. And their main concern is to protect, I guess, their particular core base. But they're only going to go so far before they give in. Listen to what I'm telling you. They're not going to talk about false flag. I will. I got to have evidence of it. I don't just assume it. But I'm not going to be shocked. Put it this way. Let us eliminate.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you will, look right here.
Or just give me one name.
Let's see, there's, Mandela Industries. I just saw them. I got very close there. Very close.
And what?
Industries. I just saw them. I got very close there. Very close.
And what type of company is that?
Did anybody call here asking for Mandela Industries?
No, what happened to you?
All right, listen closely. I was at the unemployment office, and I told them I was very close to getting a job with Mandela.
Gunfire raining down upon an innocent crowd.
He was shooting everybody, and there was dead people everywhere, and I don't even know what was happening. He was just shooting randomly.
It started at 10:08 p.m. The first reports of shots fired as singer Jason Aldean performed. Initially, there was confusion, many wondering if the sounds were part of the show.
It's fireworks. It's fireworks. Stop. It's fireworks.
But they quickly realized what was happening.
We have an active shooter. We have an active shooter inside the warehouse.
A gunman perched on the 32nd floor of the Mandalay Bay Resort had opened fire on 22,000 concert goers.
We got about 40 to 50 people were pinned against the wall.
All of them scrambling to find shelter wherever they could.
I mean, he's never even drawn his gun. I mean, it makes no sense. He's never hit anybody. He's never...
Gun enthusiast or just
never.
A few?
Well, he had a couple of handguns, I think. You know, he had a safe with a couple of handguns. He might have had one long rifle, but he didn't have any... I mean, he had no automatic weapons that I knew of at any time. There's no... It just makes no sense.
You're about to encounter a very interesting video here in regards to what might have happened in regards to the Las Vegas shooting. And I told you that I might put this video up, and I decided to go ahead and do it. Now, this is just a theory, so overall, most people agree with me that this man does not fit the profile of somebody that would do something like this. He's got lots of money. He's got no kids. Got a girlfriend. His house is worth over $400,000. From what I understand, he's a multi-millionaire. He likes to gamble, but he seems to be able to control it. He won right before he committed this horrible act. Well, I'm not going to say committed, sorry, but anyway, because maybe he didn't. Maybe. Well, I'll get into the details of that. I haven't explained that yet. But just he's got a lot of things going his way. The only thing that I think he was lacking is guidance because he didn't have faith in anything, God. But I won't get into that because, you know, some people may disagree with me that. But, so he had a lot of things, and he was 64 years old, no financial problems, no psychiatric emotional problems, was never evaluated for any type of emotional illness, condition, anything like that. So what I'm saying basically is he didn't fit the profile of a typical person that might do something like that. Oh, he didn't have any, as far as we know, he didn't have any strong political beliefs like a Hillary Clinton hater or President Donald Trump hater, nothing like that going on that we know of. And what else do we know? He worked for Lockheed Martin, very credible company, which is very close and tied in with NASA. Those two work close together. And these are government projects, government companies that do all kind of amazing things in regards to traveling into space and just all kind of interesting stuff, you know. And also, I just came on top of my head, but in the interview that I have with his brother, what did he say? I think the words were like an asteroid or something. I don't know. You know what I'm talking about, something like that. which was kind of strange, but that also has to do with NASA and Lockheed Martin and all this stuff. So, you know, he pretended not to be close to him, but, you know. And also I want to mention, too, his neighbors that they tried to contact all said that they don't know him. They even left notes on the door, don't know him. There's a reason for that, too, because they don't want to get involved in something that may have gone wrong with the government or may have gone wrong with him, you know. And before I even get to this, I want to say this, too. Anyone can make mistakes. I think, in my personal own belief and feelings, is that the government has done a really good job at keeping many terrorist acts from happening in this country. If you think about the statistics of how many terrorist attacks we're having all over the world, you see them all over. You know, unfortunately, it's horrible. Paris, London. I mean, I could just go on. They're occurring everywhere. We don't have a whole lot right here in the United States, and when we do, usually it's some type of domestic terrorism, something, or maybe a lone wolf or something like that. But we're not having ISIS right here committing many terrorist acts and causing problems here, which is a good thing. So I want to credit the government for that. But it doesn't mean we can't make a mistake. And maybe that's what happened here in Las Vegas the other day. Theory. Highlight theory. Because we don't want this to get out of control, right? But, so yeah. Some things I want to point out. Well, I'll just say this first. What if this guy was an FBI informant running guns to Muslim extremist groups to try to catch these people and set them up and get these links and this pyramid that would help us to understand what's going on, catch them, and stop this from happening, right? What if he was? I mean, I'm just saying, it's theory. What if he was? Why would the government or why would the FBI be interested in him? Well, he's got a good security clearance. He worked for Lockheed Martin, which is tied into NASA. A very good security clearance. In fact, speaking of security clearance, I just want to mention this right quick. You see this screenshot here from April the 18th of 2011. A friend of mine that I used to hang out with, she worked for NASA in the Department of Homeland Security. You can see that arrow, DHS. And one day she had an emergency. And I had to go over there and see her, and she didn't think I was going to get in there. But some people have a good clearance. And she said she's never seen anybody get in there like I did, because all I did was go to the gate. They checked me out, and they said, sure, go right in. And she said she's had people come there before to try to get in, and she has to call them and talk to them, and it takes a long time to get them in there. But fortunately, the government, I have a good standing with the government, and NASA likes me, so I got in there. And that was back in 2011. That's the exact same year where you see this screenshot here, where Stephen Paddock, which is the shooter in Las Vegas, the exact same year where he was seen. Well, he was actually in the casino and he slipped and fell, and that's the only video that we know we have of him. But you can see him. You can see him in that video if you want to go see it. That was the same year that he was unfortunately had that fall there. And so, but get more into this here. Yeah, so he would have a good security clearance, obviously. And so that would be one of the reasons why they'd be interested in him. He's got a good track record at Lockheed Martin. Oh, and another thing I didn't mention, he has no criminal record. That's another reason. No emotional or psychiatric problems. No kids. Plenty of money, so he's not going to likely to do something illegal while he's working for the FBI to get money. And I've mentioned a lot of things already. I mean, so I guess I should just get more into this area, because this is going to get quite crazy and interesting. But one thing I want to mention too, so he gets all these guns. He's got, what, I don't know, it's 22 guns in the hotel, many of them long rifles, what, 1,000 round tons of ammunition. I don't know how much, a lot of ammunition. And then he's got a ton more guns at his house. So why would anybody have that many guns? What's the point of that? You can only shoot one or maybe two at the most at the same time. So that would be also suggest that maybe he's trying to get rid of them or sell them, or you know, run them, I guess you would say. That would support that theory, certainly. And the light's probably coming on for a lot of you because this is very interesting. But, yeah, so that's why I say that. Now, like I said, the hotel staff noticed nothing. Why would they notice nothing? Because they're told to notice nothing. There's no camera footage of him going into the casino with the weapons. People claim it was in a suitcase or something. In fact, they haven't showed us any. The casinos we know have tons of cameras, especially in Las Vegas. So there's a lot of footage of him on camera, but they haven't showed us anything, right? Absolutely nothing. And they hadn't showed him bringing the guns in. Haven't shown him going into the hotel. Nothing. Hotel staff says that nothing was unusual, yet they did go in his room and clean it, from what I understand. So it wasn't unusual for him to have all the guns. So obviously they would have told him, don't say anything. And they would they would choose certain individuals to go in and do this. It wouldn't just be anybody at random. They'd have to be in on this sting, what's going on here. Now, also I want to note that what's interesting is, you know how the news agencies are very aggressive. Also I should mention about the pictures. You've seen the pictures I put up earlier from the hotel room. Those pictures could obviously, they may have been leaked, or maybe they were put out there on purpose. But you can notice some things in the pictures, and some people point out different things, like the gun doesn't look like it's in the right place if you commit suicide. I probably agree with that. The hammer. So then you're going to ask questions too, because after you see this video, you're going to analyze things. You'll be like, well, why would this be like that? Why would that be like? I'll just mention a couple things. Like, for example, I'll mention the hammer. Why would there be a hammer in there? So what would happen would, he would be set up to do this sting. He was there for several days, and it just didn't go right. Some way, ISIS claimed responsibility for this. Most of you know ISIS, and I'm not going to show you a bunch of screenshots of these. You can look this up if you want, but ISIS claimed responsibility for the shooting. They usually don't claim responsibility for a shooting unless they actually were involved in it or did it, and they claim that they caused this, and maybe they did cause it. They didn't go into details about it, but they came out, I think, actually the news came out and said, I think that this man converted to Islam, but that would be obviously a lie, and that he was a jihadist or whatever, I don't know. But how they would be involved, I can tell you that in just a second. But yeah, they may have been tipped off on the sting. It could have gone down before they got there, or maybe they saw something when they arrived in the hotel room to get these guns and purchase them. But something went wrong, and when it went wrong, that's when possibly these terrorists decided to go ahead and commit a terrorist act. And there was a couple gunshots individually that people heard, and that could be when they shot and killed him. So obviously, if they were tipped off or learned of this man being an informant for the FBI, they would kill him, which in fact happened. And then they're already up there, so they would commit a terrorist act. Now, so why wouldn't we know about this? Well, think about the implications of embarrassment of the government, the FBI, the Las Vegas Police Department. Think about how horrible this would be. All those people that lost their lives, because there were people actually shot. Now, this could be what you call a false flag. People can get shot in false flags. I mean, it happens, regardless if the government's involved or not. But if things go down really bad, just think what would happen if people found out that this was an FBI sting, and all those people lost their lives. Police lost his life. I think a nurse lost her life. 500 and something people were injured. And it was all due because of a sting to find out Muslim terrorist extremist groups buying weapons, and it went wrong. In a hotel, a regular hotel. Now I can tell you that FBI uses some of these hotels. I know which ones they use here in New Orleans, but anyway, we don't need to get into that. So if something went wrong, just think how embarrassing that would be, and you know, and then people might blame it on, well, oh, President Trump, he knew about this, that's the reason, you know. There's just a lot of bad things that could happen. So so that would be the problem why they wouldn't want it exposed, obviously. And so yeah. So I'll get into more details of this. Yeah, it's just a horrible thing that happened, and it should have never happened. But we're not seeing any camera footage of him inside the hotel, anything like that, and there's a reason for that too. He was on the 32nd floor, of course. Now, another thing I want you to note too is, you know, the news and everybody would be very likely to want to interview people on that 32nd floor, right? Have you seen? I haven't seen anybody interviewed that was on the 32nd floor. Why would they not be on the 32nd floor? Because if you're if you're doing a sting, you're going to make sure none of those rooms have anybody in them. That whole floor would be empty. Now they would make it look like people were in it by putting plates and dishes outside the room, like they're getting room service, stuff like that. But nobody's actually in there. Obviously, you don't want anybody in any of the rooms on that floor if they're committing a sting. And I've only seen video footage of one person shooting video out from inside that hotel, and that hotel is huge. I don't know how many thousands of rooms it has, so you might find that odd too. But there would be a reason for that, I'm sure. You know. Now, I think I mentioned that the neighbors don't know him. There's, of course, a reason for that. But all those guns, think about all the guns in his house, all the guns in the hotel, all that ammunition they found. There's no point to that unless you are trying to sell these things or run them. There's no point to that. I mean, that's nobody, you know, that makes no sense at all. Not with all the money and the stable mentality they had and just everything, you know. It would make no sense. Also, I want to mention that one of the reasons that he would be selected to do something like this is because, well, there's many reasons actually, but one of the ones I want to point out is that he's a known high roller at the casinos. So if you're anybody involved in terrorism or anything like that, or you want to purchase purchase guns for some horrible act or whatever, you're going to check that person out. So they would know that he's a high roller and he likes money. So it would be much more believable that he was not an FBI informant and that he's just somebody that was willing to try to help them get what they wanted. Why is that? Because he feeds on money. So selling these weapons, he would get money, right? Quite a bit of money for doing it, selling it to them. Because it's hard to get they can get the weapons outside the country, but it'd be very hard for terrorists to get the weapons inside the country. So they like to try to seek somebody that would do it for them, and also they seek lone wolves too, that commit these acts. But so yeah, that'd be more believable of him because he's a man that likes to take risk, right? He takes risk being a high roller, because basically he's got a top star casino cards at a lot of these casinos. In other words, the highest card you can get with stars or whatever, he's got that at a lot of casinos. So he's a known high roller. He's been known to bet $10,000 at a time. Usually not, usually $100 hands or something, but on some days he's been known to bet as much as $10,000. So yeah, he would fit the profile of somebody that might be trusted if you were trying to purchase weapons from him, because he's a high-risk person that likes to get money. Acquiring large amounts of money, willing to take high risk to acquire the money. Dealing guns to extremist groups is like gambling. It's a high-risk endeavor, like high-roller gamblers. A love of the danger and excitement of high-risk endeavors in order to acquire huge amounts of money. To him, a game that pumps adrenaline in his blood and puts cash in his bank accounts. The thrill of beating the odds and winning was an addiction that he liked. Now, you see also that they brought his girlfriend in. The FBI grabbed her from the airport earlier tonight. I have a video up on that. And they have her in Los Angeles at a secure location. And the reason for this is because she could be a target. Now, I'm not saying whether terrorists were captured or whether they got away in regards to this theory at the, at the hotel when everything went bad and wrong. I'm not saying if they caught him or if they got away. If they got away, yeah, I mean, that's going to really put some people on the edge. If they caught him, still a horrible thing happened. So, I mean, it's just a horrible thing that happened. But the reason being that she would be taken by the FBI. In fact, think about this. The FBI contacted her. She was over in the Philippines, I think, the Philippine Islands, and she'd traveled several places too. So she could have even been an informant. I don't know, but she had traveled several places, and her last destination that she was at. Oh, and I'll also mention that he wired her $100,000. That's a lot of money. He wired her $100,000. That's been confirmed. Now, when she flew back in last night from the Philippines, the FBI met her at the airport, took her, kept her safe, and took her and has her somewhere in the big city of Los Angeles. And why would they do that? Because at first, what did they say? They first came out in the news, and the police said that she was not suspected. And why would they say that if she's in another country and they haven't even had a chance to physically interrogate or talk to her? That makes no sense at all. But then yesterday they came out and said, no, we want to talk to her. We're interested in talking to her. She's a person of interest. So the whole story changed. And they want to do that, obviously, because if the FBI met her at the airport and she was not a person of interest and they weren't interested in talking to her, then the people would be like, well, why did the FBI take her and meet her at the airport? But the reason they would do that is because her life would be in danger from these people that were involved in this gun exchange. And so, yeah, if they found her at the airport or whatever, they might take her hostage or kill her or whatever because she was the girlfriend of this man that was in on this that's now deceased, dead. So yeah, I talk about things like the hammer and the gloves. That all, a lot of you saying, well, why is there gloves on this man? What's he need that for? It doesn't make any sense. Well, I don't know. Was it planted, some of this? I mean, don't you find it kind of strange that all of a sudden that somebody could actually, think about this. Now, whether or not those pictures were released on purpose or not, I can't say, but think about this. You have the biggest mass murder crime scene, which is in that hotel, that particular hotel room, in the history of the United States, and somebody got in there and took pictures and they don't know who it is. Do you really think that could happen? That floor there's nobody staying on that floor, I can assure you that. That floor is cut off. The elevators can shut floors off. We know that. You've been to a casino or a hotel where, like the penthouse suite floor, you can't get to it. You got to have a special hotel key and enter in there and all. So we know they can cut floors off. That floor is cut off. Nobody can get on that floor. The police aren't going to, especially with the script, they're not going to release those pictures, take pictures of police. So who got that? Who leaked that? Who got those? Seems like it would be on purpose, right? So maybe there's some things in that picture that you might want to take a close look at. Some of that stuff might have been planted. I find it very unlikely that somebody's going to get in there. They're going to have a policeman probably guarding that hotel room, and right in front of that hotel room probably 24 hours a day. Because the police chief said today the investigation is going to go on for a long time. They haven't finished with that. Nobody's on that floor. It's locked off. You have to have special access to it. And yet somebody got in there and took these pictures and even video. That makes no sense at all. So, yeah, I know. I'm probably missing some more stuff too. Just think about his profile, his character, his job, his lifestyle.
The Force is with you, young Skywalker. But you are not a Jedi yet. Not until you learn to count to 10.
Ah! Ah!
Luke, I am your father, and it is my duty to teach you how to count. Now, look over there.
No way! I'm not falling for that old trick, Vader. You're trying to distract me.
No, I'm trying to teach you.